Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sam from Historic Travels and welcome to another video. Okay guys, so hey, in the last video that I uploaded to this channel, we discussed the newly released photos that were taken within the wreck of the White Star Line HMHS BRITANNIC, Titanic's sister ship. And guys, some of the photos and videos that were released were absolutely incredible. If you have not watched part 1 yet of this series, I would encourage you to do so. I'm turning this into a 2-part series, so link for that video in the description below. But yeah, in that video, I had to go over a lot of information first before I showed the photos so you guys would have a better understanding as to why these photos and videos are such a big deal that I didn't get a lot of time to analyze the photos or videos themselves. So what I thought I would do for today's video is fix that problem. We're going to take a look at a lot of the photos and videos that were taken during those expeditions, and then I'm going to show you them. I'm going to explain them so you understand better what you're looking at, and yeah, I want you guys to be able to see firsthand how incredible they are. And honestly, it really does show how well preserved the Titanic's sister ship is at the bottom of the ocean. Honestly, it looks like the ship sank yesterday, even though she went down in 1916. And okay, with the intro out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so to start off with, we're first going to take a look at some photos that were taken outside the wreck, and then we're going to slowly work our way to photos taken inside the wreck. Now, this first photo you see right here, this is of a diver exploring the Britannic's upper superstructure. And do you notice how the wreck itself is covered in all of these like extruding things, like undersea live? I believe some of these are like oyster shells and just all kinds of stuff. Well, they discovered that the Britannic, where it's covered in all of this stuff, very little of the ship's actual iron is exposed to the actual water itself and the oxygen within it. So they have a theory out there that all of this stuff is actually protecting the wreck from decaying. I mean, it's very, very interesting stuff. It's almost like the Britannic has a cocoon around it or something. I mean, it's very, very cool. Now, this next photo you see right here, this is of an open porthole window on the Britannic's hull. So for those of you that are not familiar, when the Britannic struck the mine, in one way or another, 6 watertight compartments were compromised from the mine blast. I'm not saying the explosion damaged 6 compartments fully. I'm saying that as a result of the explosion, 6 compartments took on water. That's a quick way to say how much damage the ship took. Anyway, as a result of that and 6 compartments flooding, the Britannic should have been able to stay afloat. However, as the ship sank down a little bit in the water due to the mine strike, a bunch of open porthole windows went under, water got into those porthole windows, and that's ultimately what doomed the ship. And the dive team was actually looking to prove that these porthole windows were open. And when they went to the wreck and began examining the portholes, as you can see right here, they were indeed open. So yes, that story is true. The open porthole windows were a big factor in what sank the HMHS BRITANNIC. Now, this photo is especially cool. This photo shows one of the the navigation bridge of the Britannic. This shows one of the telegraphs that were used to signal to the engine room what the bridge wanted them to do. So, think of the scene from the Titanic film where you see the officers, grab the telegraph and they ring it, and then the engine room knows what to do, like full steam ahead, full reverse, yada, yada, yada. That's what this thing was for the Britannic. And honestly, it still looks like it's in very good condition. You can clearly see the handle down there in the bottom right. And I think I can just make out some of the details of I can't really see words on it, but you can tell where everything would have been. I mean, oh, wait a minute. Look right here in the top. Is this just like a little bit of crud that's over top of it? Look right here. This looks like some white. I wonder if that's the original writing. How cool would that be? How cool would that be if the entire telegraph was completely intact, just, with this top layer crud being the only thing preventing? It looks like it's all still there. Okay, that's really cool. I literally just noticed that here on camera for the first time. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so during these expeditions, they had another goal besides just going inside the wreck and photographing the interior spaces. They also got permission from the Greek government to recover a few artifacts from the ship. Now, I can't remember if I explained this in the last video. I'm pretty sure I did. One big rule you have to follow whenever you dive the wreck normally is, number 1, you are not allowed to recover anything, and number 2, you are not allowed to go inside the ship. But for these expeditions, they got permission to do both, which is pretty crazy. Now, one thing that they wanted to try to find was the Britannic's bell. The bell that was located up in the crow's nest and all that stuff, located on the ship's forward mast. Now, they actually know exactly where the forward mast was. It's still connected to the Britannic itself. Although, as you can see from this photo, like if you look at this picture right here, you can like, do you see this curved structure and how it looks like there's a part of it that's connected to the ship, and then this other part is bent and going away out of frame? Well, that's the mast. So it's still connected. It's just bent and fallen back. Very similar to what it is on the Titanic. Anyway, they went to the spot where the crow's nest was, but the bell was gone. So the bell clearly fell from the Britannic's mast over time. It just fell somewhere. Anyway, it took them a while to find it, and I'm pretty sure there were actually some concerns from people who were exploring the wreck that the bell may have been recovered illegally because they just simply could not find it. But eventually they did find it. It fell from the wreck and landed on the seafloor, and as you can see from this photo right here, it was just covered in all of this stuff. Like, even if you can't tell where the bell is, I'll zoom in right here. But you see this thing right here in the middle, right below where this diver is? That's the bell. I mean, it's barely recognizable as a bell. The only reason I know what it is because they told me. But yeah, you can barely tell what it is. It was just covered in all this crap at the bottom of the ocean. So it took them a while to actually dig the bell out. I mean, they had to do that. They had to go in there and they had to work it and pry it, and they were able to free it, but it took some time. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, in the end, they recovered the bell, and it's in pretty good condition, as you can see from these photos right here. It's really, really cool that they did this. Now, one big rule that they have to follow whenever they recover artifacts from the Britannic itself is the artifacts have to be loose. Like, they can't be like fused to the ship or anything, because they can't risk exposing any of the iron of the Britannic to the outside elements, like the water, the oxygen stuff, because if they do that, the rate of decay will greatly increase. So yeah, that's one big important rule they have to follow. The only reason they were able to use tools and pry up the bell was, like I said, it wasn't on the wreck. It was at the bottom of the ocean. But yeah, they recovered a bunch of other cool stuff, like some plates. They found a lantern. That was really cool. It almost looks like that lantern is fused to the wreck, but it wasn't. It came right out. But yeah, I mean, really, really cool stuff that they were able to do this. It's absolutely insane. Okay, so this next photo, believe it or not, is the captain's bathtub. Yes, we actually have a photo of the captain's bathtub from the Britannic. You can see it up here in the top of the picture. And when they swam in and got close to it, they noticed that the taps on the Britannic, which apparently was even popular during this time period, was that there was a bunch of different taps, and each one was like, there was like cold fresh water, hot fresh water, cold salt water, and hot salt water. And I thought that was very interesting because the Queen Mary had the exact same thing. When I stayed aboard the Queen Mary a few years ago, I noticed that they had like cold salt, cold fresh, hot salt, hot fresh. Like, they had the exact same thing. So I thought that was something just from ships in the 30s and stuff like that and onward. I didn't know that the old White Star ships, from early 19 teens had this kind of thing. That's really, really cool that they had that, and it's in crazy good condition. I can't help but think about the captain's bathtub from the Titanic. I mean, it was in fantastic condition until the walls around the bathtub collapsed, like we saw in my wreck exploration videos. But yeah, very, very cool. Okay, now this photo is particularly special to me because this is just unbelievable that we have this. I showed this photo in my last video, or not this photo exactly, but something else like it. So this is the Britannic's grand staircase, the very top of the grand staircase, directly below where the big wrought iron dome would have been. And I just cannot get over the state of preservation of the grand staircase on the Britannic. I mean, look, you can see the steel frame that once housed the stairs. The stairs are long gone, but yeah, it's still there. You can see all of the upper deck, so you can see a deck there. And I mean, it is absolutely incredible that the grand staircase on Britannic is in such good condition. And what they talked about was because, where the Britannic is on its side like that, where it's resting on its starboard side, they were able to use the grand staircase as a way to get easy access to the interior spaces of the ship, just like they do with the Titanic, with the ROVs and stuff. Like, it's very easy to get inside the Britannic through the grand staircase. And because the Britannic is on its side, because what the divers were talking about is anytime you go deeper into a wreck, meaning like you swim down like deeper within it, you have to, take that into account whenever you're going to come up, like with decompression and stuff. But because the Britannic's on its side like that, they were actually able to explore deep within the wreck itself without having to swim down deeper, all the time. So because of that, they were able to explore the wreck without having to change pressure and deal with decompression stuff as much. I mean, very, very cool stuff. So Yeah, this is still my favorite room on both the Titanic and the Britannic. I absolutely love this, and I cannot believe it is in such good condition. I've talked about this a lot in the past. Like, I would love to get in there and see what this room looks like, and hey, now we know. Now, this photo you see right here, believe it or not, this is part of the Britannic's Marconi wireless set, the ship's radio. And what's very interesting about this is that they did not find this in the Britannic's wireless room. In fact, it got knocked back somehow and fell down the ship's forward grand staircase. They found it like around 4 decks below where it was originally located on the ship. That is crazy to me, and I really don't have a theory as to how that could have happened, unless that entire space got obliterated in the sinking somehow. But yeah, it's crazy that they found it where they did. And look at the detail of it. I mean, it's still in very good condition. I don't think they recovered it during this expedition, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the things that they're wanting to go back and get at some point. Now, this photo is especially cool. The photo you are seeing right here, believe it or not, this is a printing press that they found inside the Britannic's, believe it or not, potato room. Yeah, this printing press was located in the Britannic's potato room. So that should tell you just how deep they got within the ship. I mean, they were traveling along Scotland Road, and I'll show you a photo here of Scotland Road here in a minute. But yeah, so this is what they would use to like print up menus. And I don't know if they would ever use this for like news information about the war or anything, but they probably did if I had to guess. But man, this is just so cool. I mean, it's amazing how much stuff was inside the Britannic. Now, a lot of the Britannic's like ocean liner fittings, you know, like the elegant furniture and all the wood paneling, you know, like the stuff that they would have put into the Olympic and Titanic, like this thing right here. Like this is an actual wooden panel that was in the Olympic second class lounge. A lot of these details weren't on the Britannic because it was a hospital ship. You know, they took them out. So a lot of the fine details and stuff aren't there on the wreck today because they were never there to begin with. But yeah, it's like, even though those weren't there, we're getting a glimpse into the life of her as a hospital ship and the life of people that were dealing with World War I mean, it's really, really crazy stuff. I mean, it's so cool. Britannic really is a preserved time capsule. Insane. So this photo is of Scotland Road. And for those of you that are unaware, Scotland Road was a giant corridor that spanned nearly the entire length of the Olympic class liners. It actually played a big role in how the Titanic would sink because there weren't a lot of watertight doors along Scotland Road. It was an easy way for the water to be able to bypass the watertight compartments and spill over into the next compartment. Scotland Road was like a funnel for the water. Anyway, the Britannic had one too. And this guy was using Scotland Road to get deep within the Britannic and go like to the engine room and some of the other compartments. Scotland Road's a great access for that. And man, you can just see it's intact. I mean, you've got some loose wiring and stuff here and everything, but I mean, it's crazy. It's still there. I mean, you could literally look at a map of the Britannic and use this to find your way around. I mean, it really doesn't look like a wreck from 100 years ago, just how well preserved it is. Insane. Okay, so I showed this photo in my last video on this subject. These are all the toilets they found on board the Britannic, and I'm going to assume there were walls in between these toilets, and they just made like very, very small stalls, I guess, for people to go in there and do their business. I can't imagine them all open and just sitting there like that. That would be very awkward, wouldn't it? To be sitting there doing your business, and there would be somebody else right there doing their business right beside you. Let me know in the comments below if you have any more information on that. But yeah, this is, it's crazy how well preserved this entire area is. I mean, you can still see the piping and everything. This photo you see right here, this is how the toilets actually appeared to the divers, you know, where the Britannic is resting on its starboard side. The toilets are sitting on their side like that. But, you know, that's what's so incredible to me about all of this is that the Britannic is still in such good condition given its status on the bottom of the ocean. Now, yes, there's all that undersea life that's protecting it, but it's amazing to me that the Britannic, like, it's resting on its starboard side, okay? The ship structure was not designed to hold up all of the ship's weight like this. I mean, like, this part of the hull was not designed to hold up all of this weight, and yet, for over 100 years, the ship has held up so well. I mean, it's still intact. I mean, it's crazy to me when you think about that as well. I mean, look at the Titanic. I mean, the Titanic's basically gone. Now, granted, Titanic and Britannic are very different, but given what I just said about how the Britannic is resting and how it's preserved, I mean, It's really crazy when you think about it. Now, this photo is especially interesting. What the dive teams wanted to do was they wanted to get into the Turkish baths. Now, the Turkish baths are located very deep inside the Britannic. It'd be hard to get in there. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to see if the Turkish bath on Britannic was the same as the Turkish bath on Titanic, because they thought that the Turkish bath would have been pretty much installed before the Britannic became a hospital ship, and they were hoping that the Turkish baths, decorations and all that would still be there, because it would be a pretty big deal to pull all that stuff out. And honestly, I don't know why they would do that. But yeah, they were hoping all that stuff was still there, and then they wanted to compare it to the one on the Titanic. And as we know from previous expeditions to Titanic, the Turkish bath is in beautiful condition on the Titanic. It's one of the most well-preserved rooms on the wreck. And anyway, this photo you see here was taken directly above the Turkish bath, and even this area is in remarkable condition. But yeah, so eventually they got in there. As you can see from these photos here, the Turkish bath really doesn't look that much like the Titanic's one. It looks like they went with this whole different like decoration thing or decoration theme for the Turkish baths on Britannic. So yeah, same space, same purpose, but yeah, they decorate it completely different, which is crazy and interesting. But now, with the way the Turkish bath was set up on the Britannic, and given its location within the wreck, the dive teams weren't able to use their usual trick of just, staying at the same depth and exploring the ship. That trick I used to explain earlier. They actually had to go deeper within the ship, and it changed their depth. So they said it was a very challenging place to try to get to, but they were ultimately glad that they did. And so am I. These photos are incredible. All right, so the last photos we're going to be taking a look at in this video are ones that were taken from the ship's engine room. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of photos from the ship's engine room because they haven't released those yet. They said they're planning to hold on to those until they can make a documentary film with them. But they did say that for the most part, the ship's reciprocating engines are largely intact and they're still in the correct position inside the engine room, which is crazy. But they did release a couple of photos. So this photo you see right here is of a staircase that's in the engine room. And again, it's in a amazing state of preservation. And this photo right here is particularly interesting. This is a handle that they would use to control the engines themselves. Think of it like a throttle on a steam engine or something. And as you can see, this shows the final position that the engineers had the engines, at the time that they left the ship. And you can clearly see it right there. Ahead, astern, forward, backwards, all that stuff. It's all still there. So this shows that, the engineering crew did shut off the engines after Bartlett gave the order to abandon ship. I mean, all that is still there. This is so cool. Like, oh my gosh, am I nerding out? I think I'm nerding out here. But yeah, it's what they did here is just, it's absolutely beautiful and it's incredible. So yeah, now you guys have gotten to see some pretty cool photos from within the wreck of the Britannic itself. It's absolutely incredible. And guys, I highly recommend you pick up this book, Inside the Britannic. All of this information comes from this and a few things from online. But yes, like the work that they did with this is incredible. And it's amazing that we're finally able to see the Titanic's sister in such good condition and just all the details of her. I mean, it's nuts. But yeah, guys, hey, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something. If you did, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and please give this video a like. Thank you guys so much. It really helps out a lot. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.